The Industrial Revolution marked a turning point in human history, radically transforming the production of goods and the flow of money. Before this period, most products were handcrafted in small artisan workshops or at home. Production was slow, costly, and limited by the artisan's skill and time. However, with the arrival of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, all of this changed. The invention of machines like James Watt's steam engine and mechanical looms allowed for mass production. Factories began to spring up, especially in England, focusing on textile production. These factories could produce large quantities of goods in less time and at a lower cost than traditional methods. This not only increased the availability of products but also reduced their prices, making goods accessible to a larger portion of the population. Mass production also led to greater specialization of labor. Instead of a single artisan creating a product from start to finish, factory workers specialized in just one part of the production process. This approach increased efficiency and enabled the creation of more complex and higher quality products. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed how goods were produced, but it also had a significant impact on the economy and the flow of money. Mass production led to a higher demand for raw materials, which in turn boosted mining and agriculture. Merchants and entrepreneurs saw new business opportunities, which stimulated the growth of banking and finance. Money began to flow more quickly and efficiently through the economy, driving unprecedented economic growth. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed the production of goods, but also revolutionized transportation networks, enabling a more efficient flow of products and money. Before the Industrial Revolution, the transportation of goods was slow and expensive, limited by the capacity of pack animals and rudimentary roads and canals. With the invention of the railroad and the development of railway networks, the transportation of goods became faster, more efficient, and more economical. The first trains, powered by steam engines, could carry large quantities of goods over long distances in record time. This not only facilitated trade between distant regions, but also allowed factories to send their products to broader markets, increasing their sales and profits. In addition to railroads, the improvement of roads and the construction of navigable canals also played a crucial role in the expansion of transportation. Canals like the Suez Canal and the Erie Canal made it easier to transport heavy and bulky goods via water routes, significantly reducing transportation costs. The impact of these transportation improvements was monumental. Raw materials could be transported quickly to factories, and finished products could reach faraway markets. This not only increased production efficiency, but also encouraged trade and investment. Entrepreneurs could expand their businesses into new regions, and investors could finance infrastructure projects with the confidence that they would see a return on their investment. The development of transportation networks also had a social impact. It made it easier for people to move, allowing workers to travel to factories and families to migrate in search of better opportunities. In summary, the expansion of transportation networks during the Industrial Revolution not only transformed the economy, but also changed the lives of millions of people. The Industrial Revolution marked the birth of industrial capitalism, an economic system that transformed the way goods were produced and distributed. Before this period, the economy was dominated by agriculture and artisanal production, but with the arrival of factories and mass production, industrial capitalism became the driving force of the economy. Industrial capitalism was characterized by investment in machinery and technology to increase efficiency and production. Entrepreneurs, known as capitalists, financed the construction of factories and the purchase of machinery in hopes of making a profit. This system allowed for the accumulation of capital and encouraged competition, as entrepreneurs constantly sought new ways to improve production and reduce costs. A key feature of industrial capitalism was the division of labor. Instead of a single artisan producing an entire product, the production process was divided into specialized tasks, each performed by different workers. This approach not only increased efficiency, but also allowed for the production of more complex and higher quality goods. Industrial capitalism also led to the creation of new financial institutions. Banks and stock exchanges became key places for obtaining capital, as entrepreneurs needed funds to finance their projects. Banking rapidly expanded, and stock exchanges, like the London Stock Exchange, played a crucial role in funding industrial companies. The rise of industrial capitalism had a profound impact on society. The concentration of production in factories led to urbanization, as workers moved to cities in search of employment. This also brought social changes, such as the growth of an industrial working class and the creation of unions to protect workers' rights. In summary, the rise of industrial capitalism during the Industrial Revolution transformed the global economy, boosting production and trade, and forever changing the social and economic structure of nations. The Industrial Revolution was an unprecedented period of technological innovation that transformed not only the production of goods, but also the economic and social structure of nations. New technologies not only increased efficiency and productivity, but also opened new business opportunities and changed the way people lived and worked. One of the most significant inventions of the Industrial Revolution was the steam engine, developed by James Watt. This machine not only revolutionized industrial production, but also boosted transportation and mining. Steam engines were used to power trains, ships, and factory machinery, increasing the speed and efficiency of production and transportation. Another crucial invention was the mechanical loom, which transformed the textile industry. This device enabled the mass production of fabrics, reducing costs and increasing the availability of textile products. The textile industry was one of the first to experience explosive growth due to technological innovation, becoming a pillar of the industrial economy. Technological innovation also spread to mining and metallurgy. New techniques for extracting and processing minerals allowed the mass production of iron and steel, essential materials for building machinery, infrastructure, and tools. Steel production, in particular, benefited from the invention of the Bessemer converter, which allowed for the fast and efficient production of high-quality steel. The impact of technological innovation was not limited to industry. Agriculture also saw significant changes with the introduction of new tools and farming methods. The mechanization of agriculture increased productivity and allowed for large-scale food production, feeding a growing population and freeing agricultural workers to move to factories. In summary, technological innovation during the Industrial Revolution transformed not only the production of goods, but also changed the economy and society in profound and lasting ways. New technologies fueled economic growth, created new business opportunities, and improved the quality of life for millions of people. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed production and transportation, but it also had a profound impact on international trade. Before this period, international trade was limited and expensive, dominated by mercantilism and protectionist policies. However, with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, international trade experienced a radical shift. Mass production and improvements in transportation allowed industrialized nations to produce goods on a large scale and export them to foreign markets. Railroads and steamships significantly reduced transportation costs, making products more accessible to consumers around the world. This led to an increase in international trade and the globalization of markets. The Industrial Revolution also encouraged the creation of trade agreements and the reduction of tariffs. Nations began to see the benefits of free trade and embarked on negotiations to eliminate trade barriers. The Cabot-Chevalier Treaty between the United Kingdom and France, signed in 1860, is a notable example of an agreement that promoted free trade and stimulated economic growth. The rise in international trade also led to the creation of new financial and commercial institutions. Stock exchanges such as the London Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange became crucial centers for financing industrial companies and trading stocks and bonds. International banks and currency exchange houses facilitated international transactions, enabling entrepreneurs to finance their operations and expand into new markets. The impact of the transformation in international trade was enormous. Industrialized nations became economic powers, exporting goods worldwide and accumulating wealth. At the same time, developing nations began to integrate into the global economy, exporting raw materials and agricultural products to industrialized markets. In summary, the Industrial Revolution transformed international trade, encouraging mass production, reducing transportation costs, and promoting free trade. This not only boosted economic growth, but also led to the globalization of markets and the creation of an interconnected world economy. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed the economy, but also had a profound impact on society. Changes in production, transportation, and trade led to a series of social transformations that affected the lives of millions of people. One of the most significant changes was urbanization. Before the Industrial Revolution, most people lived in rural areas and worked in agriculture. However, with the creation of factories and the demand for labor, many people moved to cities in search of employment. This led to the rapid growth of industrial cities, such as Manchester and Birmingham in England, which became centers of production and trade. Urbanization also brought with it a series of challenges. Cities grew in a disorderly fashion, and the lack of planning led to problems with housing, sanitation, and public health. Living conditions in working-class neighborhoods were often precarious, with overcrowded housing and a lack of basic services. However, urbanization also offered new opportunities, such as access to education and public services, which eventually improved the quality of life for workers. Another significant social impact was the change in the labor structure. Mass production and the specialization of labor led to the creation of an industrial working class. Factory workers often faced long workdays, low wages, and dangerous working conditions. These challenges led to the formation of unions and labor movements that fought for better working conditions and labor rights. The Industrial Revolution also had an impact on education and social mobility. The demand for skilled labor and the need for technological innovation fostered the creation of technical schools and universities. Education became a crucial tool for social mobility, allowing people to improve their skills and access better job opportunities. In summary, the Industrial Revolution had a profound impact on society, transforming cities, labor structure, and education. Although it brought significant challenges, it also offered new opportunities and improved the quality of life for many people in the long term. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed the production of goods, but also radically changed consumption patterns. Before this period, most products were handcrafted, making them expensive and hard to come by. However, with the arrival of mass production, goods became more accessible and affordable for a larger portion of the population. Mass production enabled the manufacturing of large quantities of products at lower prices. This meant that more people could afford to buy goods that were once considered luxuries. Items like clothing, furniture, and household utensils became more common in working-class and middle-class homes. This increase in the availability of products also led to a change in consumption habits, as people began to buy more and enjoy a higher standard of living. The growth of markets and stores also made access to these goods easier. Department stores began to emerge in cities, offering a wide variety of products under one roof. These stores not only provided convenience, but also created a more appealing shopping experience for consumers. The concept of going shopping became a social and leisure activity, not just a necessity. In addition, advertising and marketing played a crucial role in changing consumption patterns. Companies began using advertising techniques to attract consumers and promote their products. Ads in newspapers, posters, and later on the radio created demand for products and helped establish well-known brands. The change in consumption also had an impact on the economy. The increase in product demand boosted production and employment, creating a cycle of economic growth. Companies invested in new technologies and production methods to meet the growing demand, which in turn led to greater innovation and economic development. In summary, the Industrial Revolution transformed consumption patterns, making goods more accessible and affordable for a larger portion of the population. This not only improved people's standard of living, but also spurred economic growth and innovation. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed production and consumption, but also had a profound impact on money and finance. With rapid economic growth and the expansion of trade, the need arose for new financial systems and forms of money to facilitate transactions and support industrial development. One of the most significant changes was the creation of modern banks and credit systems. Before the Industrial Revolution, banking was limited and controlled by a few institutions. However, with the growth of commerce and the need to finance new enterprises, many more banks emerged. These banks offered loans and lines of credit to entrepreneurs, allowing them to invest in new technologies and expand their businesses. The use of paper money also expanded during this period. Industrialized economies needed a more efficient and portable form of money than gold and silver. Banknotes began to replace metallic coins, making transactions easier and providing greater flexibility in the economy. This shift not only facilitated trade, but also allowed for the creation of more complex financial markets. The emergence of stock exchanges was another key development. The London Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange became crucial centers for financing industrial companies. Stocks and bonds were traded in these markets, providing companies with the capital needed to grow and expand. This modern financial system allowed for greater capital mobility and encouraged investment in new technologies and businesses. In addition, the Industrial Revolution led to the creation of new financial institutions, such as insurance companies and currency exchanges. These institutions provided essential services to support commerce and industry, managing risks and facilitating international transactions. The development of these financial services was fundamental to economic growth and stability during this period of rapid change. In summary, the Industrial Revolution transformed money and finance, creating new banking systems, expanding the use of paper money, and establishing modern financial markets. These changes not only facilitated economic growth, but also supported innovation and industrial expansion. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed the economy and society of industrialized nations, but also had a profound impact on globalization. With the growth of production and trade, nations began establishing closer economic and commercial ties, creating an interconnected global economy. Before the Industrial Revolution, international trade was limited by a lack of infrastructure and high transportation costs. However, with the introduction of railways and steamships, transportation costs dropped dramatically, making trade between nations easier. Trade routes expanded, and goods began to flow more freely across borders. The Industrial Revolution also led to the creation of new global markets. Industrialized nations sought raw materials to fuel their factories and markets to sell their manufactured products. This led to an expansion of trade with colonies and other regions of the world. Raw materials such as cotton, rubber, and sugar were imported from the colonies, while manufactured products were exported to these markets, creating a global trade network. The growth of international trade also led to the creation of new institutions and trade agreements. Trade treaties like the Cabin-Chevalier Treaty between the United Kingdom and France promoted free trade and economic cooperation among nations. These policies fostered a more open and competitive environment, driving economic growth and innovation. Globalization also had an impact on culture and society. The exchange of goods and ideas led to greater interaction between different cultures and the spread of technologies and innovations. Port cities and trade centers became meeting places for people from different parts of the world, fostering cultural exchange and diversity. In summary, the Industrial Revolution served as a catalyst for globalization, facilitating international trade, creating new global markets, and promoting economic cooperation. These changes not only boosted economic growth, but also brought greater interconnection and cultural diversity. The Industrial Revolution not only transformed production and trade, but also sparked a wave of financial innovation. As industrialized economies grew and expanded, there arose a need for new financial instruments and mechanisms to support economic development and investment in new technologies. One of the most significant developments was the creation of capital markets. Stock exchanges, like the London Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange, became crucial centers for financing industrial companies. These markets allowed companies to issue stocks and bonds to raise capital, enabling them to invest in new technologies and expand their operations. Trading in stocks and bonds also allowed investors to diversify their portfolios and manage risk. The Industrial Revolution also led to the creation of new financial institutions, such as investment banks and insurance companies. Investment banks played a crucial role in financing large industrial projects, like the construction of railroads and factories. Insurance companies offered coverage against risks, allowing entrepreneurs and workers to protect themselves from financial losses and workplace accidents. Additionally, financial innovation included the development of new financial instruments, such as derivatives and futures. These instruments allowed business owners and farmers to manage price risks and secure stable income. The introduction of these sophisticated financial instruments was essential for the stability and growth of industrialized economies. The expansion of credit and banking was also a crucial factor in financial innovation. Banks began to offer a wider range of services, such as long-term loans, savings accounts, and payment systems. These financial services facilitated investment in new technologies and business expansion, driving economic growth and innovation. In summary, the Industrial Revolution was a period of intense financial innovation, with the creation of new capital markets, financial institutions, and financial instruments. These developments not only supported economic growth, but also enabled greater investment in new technologies and industrial projects. Although the Industrial Revolution took place over 2 centuries ago, its impact is directly felt in our everyday lives today. The innovations and changes introduced during this period laid the groundwork for many aspects of modern life that we take for granted today. A clear example is its impact on transportation. The railroads and steamships of the 19th century paved the way for modern transportation systems. Today, we use high-speed trains, cars, and airplanes to travel and transport goods efficiently. Modern logistics and the global supply chain rely on the advances in transportation that began during the Industrial Revolution. Another aspect is mass production and the availability of consumer goods. The idea of manufacturing products on a large scale and making them accessible to most people began with the Industrial Revolution. Today, we buy mass-produced products in supermarkets and department stores, enjoying a variety of options and affordable prices. Technology and innovation also have roots in the Industrial Revolution. The focus on technological innovation and the development of new machines and industrial processes laid the foundation for today's technological revolution. Today, we live in a digital age with advances in computing, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology, all made possible by the spirit of innovation that began in the 19th century. In the financial sector, many of the institutions and practices we use today originated during the Industrial Revolution. Modern banks, stock exchanges, and insurance companies are direct descendants of the financial institutions created during this period. Credit cards, electronic transactions, and global markets are evolutions of the financial innovations of the Industrial Revolution. Finally, the Industrial Revolution also influenced the way we work and live. Urbanization and the growth of industrial cities established the model for modern metropolises. The specialization of labor and the creation of new professions continue to evolve in our knowledge-based economy. In summary, the Industrial Revolution not only transformed the world in the 19th century, but also laid the foundation for many aspects of modern life. Its impact is felt in transportation, production, technology, finance, and social structure, proving that its innovations and changes continue to shape our everyday lives.